For too long, Massachusetts politicians have resorted to demagoguery, trickery, and deceit. Why shouldn't I have a turn? Now, I admit that I'm not an experienced politician. For example, I'm standing here today with my hand in my own pocket.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to opening day at Fenway Park, America's most beloved ballpark. The long snowbound winter casts a dark pall, till one day an umpire hollers play ball. Then skies start to brighten, blue displaces gray. Baseball springs eternal, it's opening day.
Bill Shields was a cherished member of the WBZ team and an irreplaceable friend. In 41 years of reporting, he covered a lot of ground.
In Linfield, in Framingham, Peabody,
Foxborough, reporting from Chatham at Fenway Park at Copley Square, in Middleborough, in Marshfield. I'm Bill Shields.
He took us to the mountaintops.
Mid-February, the highest peak in the Northeast.
And to the bottom of the sea. A classic Bill Shields story had people you remember.
To raise money for leukemia research, what cured him, hashtag bump out cancer. Do it. Boom.
When the weather was at its worst, Bill was always the best.
You're going to see the force. Jesus.
To know him is to know his stories off camera were just as great. Bill, Billy, Shieldsy, whatever you called him, it was always easy to call him a friend. He was a trusted reporter, a valued member of the community, and part of our family.
To say Bill will be missed is like saying Bill was a great reporter. It's an understatement. Bill loved Boston, and Boston loved Bill. Rest in peace, Bill Shields, a true WBZ legend.
In loving memory of Dick McDonough, known as the Prince during his 50-year career in radio, with major tenures at WDRC in Hartford.
Fifth dimension and let the sunshine in while the raindrops are outside and you come in and keep me warm, Aquarius. It's medley at 2 at 7:20 right now on Big D's Dick McDonough Show. Let us go now to number 2, and I will take, this is an easy one, or a tough one. Could be a frustrating thing if you're not the second one on the telephone at 278-8310 or 225-7747 to collect Tommy Rowe and
WMAS in Springfield.
94.7 WMAS, good morning. It's the best songs of the 80s, 90s, and today, 2004. You betcha. Some of the worst things to say during intimate moments. On second thought, let's turn off the lights. Or how about this one? This is terrible. Did you know this ceiling needs painting? This is the worst, I think. Could you pass the remote?
Dick was no ordinary disc jockey. He was smooth as silk, and anyone who listened to him knew he was a once-in-a-lifetime on-air personality. Dick McDonough found ways to talk to people, making his audience feel like they were part of his show. His unmistakable voice and delivery were legendary. Everyone who worked with the Prince can tell you when he called you buddy, you felt like you knew him forever. People from all walks of life still cherish the memories of growing up while listening to him. He wasn't just a DJ, he was a beloved friend to us all. Let's remember the moments, the music, and the magic he brought to our lives. Dick McDonough, you will always be in our hearts. May you rest in peace, buddy.
Bob Bittner's interest in broadcasting began as a teenager in New Jersey, where he'd ride his bike to visit local radio stations. His career began in Rochester, New York, programming rock and middle-of-the-road formats. From there, it was off to Puerto Rico, where he fell in love with the Caribbean, though his radio path soon took him to Boston. He played disco at WBOS and WNTN, then programmed standards on WXKS. But it was in the early 1990s that he found his true home on the air. A winning bid at a bankruptcy auction landed him ownership of an AM daytimer in Cambridge, which became WJIB, playing music he called Easy as the Breeze. For 3 decades, Bob was a one-man operation, spinning from his collection of tens of thousands of albums on stations in Boston, Cape Cod, New Hampshire, and eventually from a home base on the coast of Maine. Instead of commercials, annual contributions from a loyal band of listeners supplied just enough funding to keep the Memories stations on the air.
Phil Drumheller, better known as Phil D., had a broadcasting career that will be difficult for anyone to match, spanning 70 years. Phil's first commercial radio job was in 1954 at WJKO in Springfield, where he hosted both morning and PM drive shows. Phil's career in the 60s and 70s kept him in Springfield, working for both WHYN and WMAS. He spent time as general manager for both of those stations at different times. He even had a stint as a TV host on WHYN TV, which is now WGGB, from 1962 to 1965, co-hosting a local dance party show. Phil realized his dream of owning and operating his own radio station in 2002, when he put WIZZ on the air in Greenfield. He hosted the morning show there until his retirement in 2022. Phil D., a true pioneer, not only in Massachusetts broadcasting, but in the broadcasting world as a whole.
Born in 1951, William J. Masick passed away April 18, 2023. Radio was a great passion of his life, but it was not his whole life. In between working for and owning several radio stations, Bill married his wife Maria, raised a family, became a grandfather, and a trusted friend. He found time to obtain real estate licenses, a law degree, and was a Haverhill city councilor for more than a quarter century in the city where he spent his life. After being raised in Haverhill, Bill went on to Northeast Broadcasting School and received a first-class license from the Radio Engineering Institute in Sarasota, Florida. Bill, who used the name Bill Maxwell on air, worked for several radio stations, including WNBP in Newburyport and WHOB in Nashua, New Hampshire, before going on to buy several radio stations of his own, including WINQ in Winchendon, WPKZ in Fitchburg, and 2 stations in northern Vermont. And even later found time to be on WHAV, using his real name.
Bill Masick here, and my guest for this hour is City Council President John Midgetson. John, thanks for coming on board for what will be the final show as the show goes into hiatus, at least until Labor Day.
Bill served on the board of directors of the Massachusetts Association of Broadcasters. Bill's fingerprints on radio, the city he loved, and those who knew and loved him will never be erased. To some, a mentor, a co-worker, a boss, but mostly a friend.
Born in 1936 in the borough of Brooklyn, Cy attended the City College of New York and the School of Radio and Television. He started his broadcast career in radio, with stops at stations in Chicopee, Asheville, North Carolina, and Dover, Delaware, before spending 14 years at WSPR-AM in Springfield, where he was the news director and an award-winning reporter. But it was right here, on TV, where Cy Becker became a household name. He joined 22 News in 1979 as a general assignment reporter and as a local theater and movie critic. Cy's enduring legacy will always be his movie reviews.
Just imagine stealing a priceless painting and then under hypnosis, forgetting where you put it.
By his own count, Cy saw over 9,000 movies in his lifetime, some of them good and some of them bad, always judged by the Becker star system with his unforgettable signature close.
This is Cy Becker with another Look at the Movies.
Cy finally retired this past spring, finishing a career that won't soon be forgotten by his friends here at 22 News and his many fans in Western Massachusetts.